Hello, welcome back to the Wizard Den. Today I'm going to be speaking on what to do if your rituals fail. Now, this happens from time to time, it just happens. Say you're doing an evocation, right? And it just fails. For some reason, the spirit doesn't come. What do you do? Now, you can sit there. There's one of two options. If it fails in the time allotted that it normally takes you to call a spirit forth, right? And they don't come. What you could do is just go ahead and call it quits and try a different spirit. Now with this, all I'm recommending is that you take it and you try to evoke a different spirit. Pick out another spirit that does along the same thing, same lines of the same power. Work with that spirit, right? Or you have the option of attempting to continue working with that spirit. Continue to try and get that spirit to come. Now, all you would do is just repeat your conjurations, repeat the repeat the meditation and looking into the sigil. You're going to repeat all these things and just really push for the spirit to come, okay? Those are really your two options. For in the moment, of course, in the moment. Now, outside of the moment, what you should do is be writing everything down. Write down everything that happened in a magic journal. Write down exactly what steps you took, what you said or didn't say, both. If you left out a certain part of the ritual, if you kept a certain part of the ritual, how your mind state was or wasn't, everything, every step that you took, everything you felt, everything you experienced, always needs to be put into a magic journal. Everything to the T, all the details, okay? And then what I recommend you do is always go back and reflect and revise your rituals. Go through and figure out exactly why it failed. It is possible that you do everything right and the spirit just doesn't want to come. It's declining your offer to communicate. It happens from time to time. But 90% of the time it's because you didn't do something correctly. And you need to work on it. You need to go back, revise your workings. You're probably being lazy 99% of the time. I found that when I am not successful, it's because I took a shortcut. Sorry about that. My dog is going crazy trying to play. But 99% of the time, that is why. I'm taking shortcuts. I'm trying to make something happen. And I don't feel... I'm being lazy. I'm not devoted myself to it the way I should. I'm taking shortcuts. I'm taking roundabout ways to do it. I'm leaving parts out. I'm not doing the full conjuration. I'm leaving out the demonic LBRP. I'm using the wrong color incense and candles. And, I'm getting in my head. I'm thinking about other things while I'm doing the invocation. I'm not focused. I'm not speaking with power and authority. My head's in the wrong space. I'm not calm. I'm not meditated. I'm not in the right state of mind. It's usually one of these things, okay? And you should have a checklist of things that you need in order to have a successful evocation. And I've made a video on this before. The things you need for a successful evocation. I will make a specific video specifically for that. A checklist of things you will need for a successful evocation. But right now we're just talking about, because that's a whole 10-minute conversation in and of itself. We're just going to talk about what you do when you don't have success. So that's that. Like I said, you, in the moment, have two options. You have the option of continuing and, you know, repeating all of the steps, making sure that you're doing everything correctly, and just repeating everything. Then you have the second option of dropping that one. Maybe the spirit doesn't want to work with you, and picking up a different spirit and trying that one. For example, I mean, this conversation piece came to me today, because last night I went to work with Bifrons, who I've worked with before, but this time he didn't want to work with me. He didn't come. So I moved on and I worked with Ipos, and I didn't even do anything but just look at his sigil and call his in, and asked him to come forth, and he did. I felt the room shake, like with his energy. It was a very powerful, potent energy. I felt it. I felt it in my taste buds. I felt it in my chest. I knew he was there. And at that point, we began to communicate. And that's just an example of Bifrons was not wanting to communicate with me at that point in time. Maybe he couldn't give me what I wanted. Okay? That can be the option sometimes of why they're not coming through, they're not showing up. Because what you're asking for is something they can't fulfill. Or it's not what you need, and they want you to go about learning things another way. Whatever the reason, Bifrons didn't come this morning. So, I went about it differently. I called Ipos instead. And he came through. And I was able to get a successful evocation with him. So, those are your options. Neither of them are correct or wrong. Both of them are fine and suggestible. But one is something you should do all the time. Like I said, always have a magic journal and always write down everything that happens, even if it's successful, because then you want to have that to compare with. When you're not successful, you can compare your non-successful evocation to your successful one and see if you missed something. So always, always, always have that notebook. All right, peace.